Sweet Baby CEO called out ref says Desi. I am interested where this is going. I am very interested where this is going. I really can't believe that they actively like called this man out. I really can't. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. If they did, it'd be funny as hell. But I don't think so. I don't believe it. Let's get in. Let's get into it.
Hey, what's up, guys? Riff here. So today I'm going to be once again talking about Sweet Baby Inc. We all know 2024 has been a very rough year for this woke consulting firm, and in yesterday's video we covered the latest developments involving them, and that is the fact that they nuked their own website and then rebuilt it, seemingly removing any mention of DEI from their website, which is a stark contrast to everything they've been doing for years. And a lot of people think
which literally doesn't matter because nobody wants to associate with you. Like, the name itself is already a problem. Nobody wants to associate with you. No one. Not a single person.
This is their attempt to hide their agenda and to come off as just this simple narrative consulting firm. And people think this is a recent shift, but thanks to some comments made by its CEO, Kim Belair, it seems that Sweet Baby has been trying to do this rebrand for a couple of months. And we can say that because of this sort of TED Talk she did at XOXO Festival. Apparently this took place back in August of this year, and it's been uploaded onto YouTube just 2 days ago on this channel. And in this sort of...
Is it already... is the comment section already, like, nuked? Gone? I wonder.
TED Talk, she talks about not only a rebrand away from DEI, they're trying to come off as just this narrative consulting firm. She also tries to downplay all the criticism the company has been facing and tries to paint all of her critics as a bunch of conspiracy theorists. And also she calls out a lot of YouTubers, including myself and Elon Musk as well. But there's a lot of interesting things she has to say.
Actually calling him out? Like, actually calling him out. Like, actually calling him out.
So, let's give it a play.
By day, I am the crazed CEO of Sweet Baby Inc., the DEI-obsessed censorship mafia who is currently ruining and wokeifying all of the video games that you've ever played.
I mean, you said it, not me, but you can hear the crowd. How confusing, right? Like, she's trying to make a joke and downplay all the criticism, labeling these people as crazy conspiracy theorists, but then the crowd...
It's like weird that they're cheering. It's like weird that they're cheering. It is so weird. These people are so weird.
Cheers. They cheer hearing about games being wokeified. Very interesting crowd attending this, and you'll see they're all integrated in all this woke nonsense. They cheer on this stuff.
Thank you. Thank you. It's hard work. If you haven't heard of Sweet Baby...
So she's basically admitting it is hard work. She has admitted it. Pretty much.
Thank you. That's actually how I prefer it.
That's an interesting comment from Kim because it pretty much confirms what a lot of people like myself have always thought, and that's the fact that Sweet Baby and its employees and its CEO, they never wanted to be discovered. And it's not about a vanity sort of thing. It's because they don't want people knowing their impact on games. No, Sweet Baby is not responsible for destroying every video game out there, but they are responsible for helping damage a lot of games that have come out recently. We've seen...
Yeah, there's some games that aren't as terrible, I would say, that they have worked on, like God of War Ragnarok, aside from like those atrocious tutorials and like it's just like overly explaining stuff. It was a solid game. Alan Wake was technically a solid game, though it did not fail financially, at least, but it wasn't a great game either.
Many examples that Sweet Baby has been involved with that have ended up with bad products that end up tanking, and they don't want you to know the connections, because once people started establishing things like Sweet Baby Inc. detected, DEI detected, services like that, it has been a very eye-opening experience for people like Sweet Baby, who have been working behind the scenes unquestioned for years, and now they have a spotlight on them, and they don't like it. And also, they don't like the spotlight on the people they're working with, too. We saw with the recent website rebrand, they removed their client list. So they're trying to hide who they're working with, but unfortunately for them, we have archived screenshots like this, so it's a little too...
Yeah, some of these are gone though. Like Square Enix is gone. They're no longer part of this.
Too late to be playing that game.
But if you have, it's either because of the over 80 amazing and often award-winning games that we've worked on, or actually one of those, Usual June, was at this very conference. So yeah, you've either heard us from all of these wonderful games, or perhaps you're familiar with the nearly year-long...
Okay, so we have, who do we have here? We have Ref here. We have, it's a Gundam. We have, who is it called? Shit, who's he got? Upper Echelon. We have Asmongold. We have... Who do we have also? We have... More Asmongold. Yellow Flash. We have Yellow Flash here. We have a couple of people here. We have a couple of people here.
hate campaign that has been waged against us as a team.
There I am, guys. Right here, I'm up on the Jumbotron.
There he is. Oh yeah, Yellow Flash is in the middle.
I made the compilation.
Down in the middle.
So she is using this image to call out people who are criticizing Sweet Baby. And the irony, of course, is the actual video that she used for me is citing something that she's not going to mention throughout this TED Talk, but we'll get there in a second. Turns out this image is actually not hers. In fact, its intention is the exact opposite of what she's doing. This is actually the source right here. This is the individual who made this image. It wasn't made to dunk on or expose people criticizing Sweet Baby. It was literally made to show all of the criticism they are facing. So Sweet Baby couldn't even be bothered, or the channel who uploaded this, they couldn't even be bothered to make these sort of compilations themselves. But clearly, they're aware of all this stuff. And on top of that, like I said, at no point during any of this TED Talk is she going to mention the reason this all happened. She's talking about the harassment campaign, and at no...
Yeah, but that's the usual thing with these people. They don't mention why it happened to them. They just think that like they're the good guys and they haven't done anything. So like, why are people harassing me? And of course, you shouldn't harass them. Obviously, no death threats, no other weird shit, no like violence towards them. Just genuine criticism. But of course, genuine criticism is also considered harassment. So careful with that one. So how this started, I think he's gonna explain it again. But how it started is basically her giving an interview, like not an interview, but like having a speech and saying that they should threaten their bosses with like what would happen if they don't comply with like cancel culture and stuff. So that's what they did.
No point will she ever cite the reason it actually happened. It started because of this right here. Chris Kindred, one of their employees, starting a harassment campaign, a false flag campaign against Cabrutus, who created Sweet Baby Inc., detected, and we know the story of this, the Streisand effect, that small Steam group would blow up as...
And obviously, yeah, that thing. Basically, it was just like a list of like Sweet Baby Inc. detected, where like just a list where Sweet Baby Inc. was like working in, which by itself is not illegal or anything, or like bad. Just like you know that this company is bad, you want to help people, like not support them. So you basically boycott everything that Sweet Baby Inc. has worked on. It's interesting that when the left tries to boycott thing, it is fine, but when the right or like people who don't agree with the woke agenda, whatever it may be, I've also seen leftists not agree with it. I've seen plenty of leftists not agree with it. You're the bad guy. You're the bad guy if you disagree with this, regardless of where you come from.
Result of this, and then the criticism campaign against Sweet Baby would ramp up to levels nobody ever thought, and they only have themselves to thank for that because of the actions of Chris Kindred. And just like the journalists who have covered this situation, they intentionally omit this entire interaction that led to the public, the really public discovery of Sweet Baby and what they're doing.
You're familiar with the nearly year-long hate campaign that has been waged against us as a team. Unfortunately, today I'm here to talk about that in a talk I'm going to call What Happens When You Get Harassed? A Sweet Baby Story.
Amazing.
That is so cringe. That is so cringe, man. What is this?
Definitely from a group of people like it's Sweet Baby and a lot of these activists. They love to play the victim any chance they get. And they're going to basically try to frame this entire thing to a bunch of people in the audience who have no idea what's going on. They're just being spoon-fed whatever Kim's saying. And she paints this whole thing as a one-sided harassment campaign because people hate woke stuff and they're just going rabid on this poor, innocent narrative consulting firm who has no woke agenda.
I mean, people do hate woke stuff. At least she's correct with that.
Whatsoever. But let's allow this to keep playing.
So I'm going to start at the beginning. Who is Sweet Baby Inc.? We are a narrative development company, and we are a team of narrative developers. What that means is that we do script writing, storytelling, narrative work for video games, and sometimes that means that we come in for writing punch-ups. Sometimes that means we're the entire writer's room for a project. Sometimes that means we're coming in very, very early on and helping them start the groundwork, the world building.
Yeah, that's kind of scary to think about, right? Sweet Baby being the entire writer's room at some point, at some projects, that's a...
I hope that nobody actually allows this to happen. Like, nobody works for them, with them. Please. Please, listen to me. Do not work with them! You're gonna get punished!
It's a pretty terrifying thought. But you can see what Kim's saying, right? She's describing Sweet Baby as a narrative consulting firm who helps build stories
little innocent
for these
people.
Various clients. However, we know truly that this isn't as simple as she is suggesting, okay? This is a comparison of the About section from only a little while ago versus the revamped one from the website's recent changes.
Yeah, they basically removed all the DEI stuff in the current version.
You can see how much they are trying to cover up their woke agenda. Here's the original About Us, saying founded in 2018, Sweet Baby Inc. is a narrative development and consultation studio based in Montreal and working around the globe. Our mission is to tell better, more empathetic stories while diversifying and enriching the video game industry. We aim to make games more engaging, more fun, more meaningful, and more inclusive for everyone. Then you can see the updated statement. There is no mention of inclusivity, diversity, anything like that.
In other words, we make games more focused we make games more racist, less inclusive, less meaningful, less engaging, and less fun. Because remember, what they think diversity is not what the most people think diversity is. Remember that. It's just for money reasons, just for funding. Not because they actually want to do anything good. Maybe that is the core intention, and they're just misled. But I can't look in somebody's head.
And that is reflected in how she is speaking during this TED Talk. She is not mentioning anything about DEI or a woke agenda in her description of her company, because I think at this point she knows it is a crutch. It is something that is turning off a lot of people to anything they're working on, and really, why would anyone want to be associated with Sweet Baby and their agenda at this point? So I think they're doing...
Nobody. People who have worked for this company cannot even find a job. Even if they had a change of heart or anything, they can't find a job now. Because they're associated with them.
Everything in their power to sort of clean up their image, but as always, it's a little too late, right? They're trying to paint themselves as a non-DEI, non-woke, not even involved in any sort of stuff like that. They're just a narrative consulting firm, when only a year ago you have employees from their company making slideshows like this onto YouTube saying that they want to burn the games industry to the ground. That was their objective at Sweet Baby, and now they expect you to sit here and just think, yeah,
now they are gonna get burned to the ground. Interesting.
Totally not having any sort of an agenda behind the scenes. Nobody with a brain is buying this right now.
But what I want to really stress is that all of our work focuses very heavily and very seriously on story. That is what narrative development is. We started out in 2018, but it was really in 2020 that we kind of came to any kind of industry prominence. And it was on a backdrop of the COVID quarantine sending everybody home from the office. Me Too sweeping through the games industry as various bad actors were named and shamed, appropriately, I should say. And also the Black Lives Matter protests were in full swing.
These awful protests, mostly peaceful protests. Again, I think Black Lives Matter was a failure. It could have been it could have had a good influence if it was actually by black people, for black people. That didn't really happen because the founder of Black Lives Matter basically received all the money and then just dipped. Which is interesting to see that the black community in the United States didn't really like punish them for that and just let them get away with that. I think it was a woman, I could be wrong.
And you can see the things she's mentioning right there is kind of the blow up of Sweet Baby. It's not about narrative consulting, it's about social issues. They're talking about Black Lives Matter. They're talking about the Me Too movement. Why would they, as just a regular narrative consultation group, blow up as a result of stuff like that? It's because they were pandering to a lot of social issues, social justice issues, things like that. And it happened to be a good fit at the time where a lot of corporations...
And I do think that the Me Too movement went too far and, in fact, damaged society as a whole. Because instead of, like, companies, like, there are companies out there that are scared to hire women because of that. Which obviously is a problem. Because now you're creating even more discrimination than before. Which is interesting to see. These movements, when they go too far, they cause more damage than they do actually help. If they are like in a controlled way, coordinated, good. If they aren't and they lose the plot, then it'll result in more problems.
Corporations were going absolutely crazy, trying everything in their power to appeal to a bunch of activists because they thought that would help their bottom line, and as it turns out, that didn't really work.
At the time, the industry was kind of responding in the way you might imagine, with a lot of corporate overpromising, but within the writing sphere, there were a lot of offers for portfolio reviews. Like, hey, if you're a marginalized or especially a black dev, we would love to give you a portfolio review. And I want to say I love portfolio reviews. It's something that we also do at Sweet Baby for free.
So she goes on to talk about how she likes to give a helping hand to a lot of people who are marginalized and they don't get a regular shot. And this reflects their original outreach statement that has been removed in the revamp of their website, where they say new and marginalized talent can change the industry if given the proper support. We want to provide this through our programs.
Like I said, no rebrand, just changing the language.
And in another interview from a few years ago, Kim talked about the same thing and basically said that she wants to hire people who are minorities, even if they don't have the qualifications. She thinks that is a more important factor towards their employment than their actual writing skills and things like that. So it really all goes back to a lot of their original goals. She's just wording things differently. But let's watch some more here.
I decided to do a cheeky Google and see, like, hey, can anyone put that together? The Google went bad.
So what she's referring to here, by the way, just for context, is she was helping release two major projects Sweet Baby worked on. That is Alan Wake 2 and Spider-Man 2. And she decided to Google search herself, basically to get a little insight on how excited people are to see Sweet Baby's involvement. And
Alan Wake 2 was a half success. As far as I'm aware right now, Alan Wake 2 didn't bring in the money that it could cost it to make. And Spider-Man 2 was a success. But it's Spider-Man, you can't really do too much damage to not make people buy it. It's Spider-Man. Come on.
Wow. Who would have thought it turned out bad?
I
And I
shouldn't
mean,
have done it.
Spider-Man was a good game. Spider-Man still was a good game. You can't deny that Spider-Man wasn't a good game.
Because rather than any praise or people going, wow, how did you do it, or just, hey, a narrative development company, what does that mean, I'm really interested, we were instead found by kind of 4chan and the worst people on Twitter. And looking back, there is a funny element.
Okay, let me read that. And if you ever thought every modern AAA game feels written by exactly the same people, it's because they basically are. Sweet Baby Inc. are basically a branch BlackRock that consults on ESG in gaming. Basically, if you want ESG funding, you need to pass the ESG scores for this company by this company. Yeah, that's what I say. ESG money. Every AAA American game studio has been outsourcing their game writing to the shitty ESG obsessed company. It's not just Sweet Baby Inc. It's also companies like GamerX for like Pokemon Go, for example. The most sinister actors in any industry often hide behind a harmless and infantile mask to conceal their true intentions. The organization has completely infiltrated the industry. Yeah, true. It's also like some of the people that call themselves the good guy are usually not the good guy. I think something I think Beerus from Dragon Ball said that in a similar manner. But yeah, no one ever who is good calls themselves the good guy.
To it where I go like, people were kind of talking like, I've discovered a secret Canadian company, like these are the guys who did it. And the discovery that they had made was actually like our public facing website.
So you see her talking there about 4chan and the worst of Twitter. So she's trying to once again downplay the criticism she is facing. It's not from people making honest criticisms of their company and their involvement with various games, but instead it's a bunch of nut jobs on 4chan. It's the 4chaners and the crazy people on Twitter, instead of the very reasonable people who have been making videos.
The 4chaners are also sometimes even a blind chicken can find something to eat.
Videos, tweets, and what have you, giving fair criticism while they are, yes, discovering who this company is. It's not that Sweet Baby was like hiding somewhere, but nobody knew who they were. So the website being public is not something that really meant anything because nobody knew who they were. No one was searching for Sweet Baby until they found out who Sweet Baby was. And back in the harassment campaign that was started by the Sweet Baby employee Chris Kindred, that's when people really discovered. Some people had seen on other platforms this company, but it wasn't anywhere to the degree after what happened with Cabrutus and that Sweet Baby Inc. employee. But let's watch one more clip here. This is pretty interesting.
In moments when this movement couldn't dig up like another reason to attack us, they would just kind of move on to other groups who they perceived to be like us, all while doing the work of erasing all of those people's and our actual jobs and interest and papering over it with kind of that rallying cry of far-right supremacy, DEI.
Far-right supremacy. Of course, it's the far right. I mean, sure, it's the far right. Why exactly are leftists also calling you out? And I don't mean like the wannabe leftists who are like, yeah. I don't need to explain that. There's a lot of leftists who call themselves leftists, but they don't really know what a leftist is. They have never seen one before. Why are they also calling you out? Why are people who are absolutely non-political calling you out? Are they also far right? Also, define far right. Is it far right to criticize somebody who is pushing an agenda for the sake of funding and not genuinely? Is that far right?
DEI, according to Kim, is a rallying cry of far-right supremacy. So if you identify or criticize DEI, you are a far-right supremacist. That is a very bold claim. Again, she's trying to take any criticism of people who are tired of having all this nonsense forced into games just for the sake of checking boxes, and they are being labeled as far-right supremacists. It's ridiculous. But listen to who she criticizes next.
And as ridiculous and stupid as it all was, I actually was not prepared for the escalation of it when noted buffoon and Twitter CEO Elon Musk decided that he would chime in with his very cool thoughts.
So she calls Elon Musk a noted buffoon, attacking his intelligence. Now, you can say a lot of things about Elon. You can criticize how he's operated Twitter since taking over it.
Yeah, there's some things that you can clearly criticize. The bots are atrocious. Now, he has been cutting down. I've lost followers on Twitter, which kind of makes it seem like, yeah, he has cut down on bots. But there's still a lot of, like, corn bots and like, corn being allowed on Twitter, which is like, chill, bro. Chill. There's too much. There's simply too much. There's also a lot of, not so nice things. There's a lot of bestiality on Twitter if you would like to dig actually deep into it, which isn't really like nuked at all. So there's definitely some things where I would say, bro, you probably need to cut down on that stuff, definitely. I don't want to hear somebody talk about like how they want to do nasty things with a dog. Thank you. These people should be in jail.
You can call him cringe, you can do whatever, but don't act like the dude's not intelligent. I mean, the guy is...
I mean, the bro was a little cringe when he appeared on that Trump rally and like jumped around like a little boy. I mean, that was a little cringe. I have to admit.
Sending rockets up into space, okay? I don't think he is your average buffoon, but here's his tweet saying Sweet Baby Inc. is an evil blight on the gaming industry. All they do is make games terrible and try to cancel people. They cannot go broke soon enough. And I think that sentiment is reflecting what was already a very common public view of this company, which was a negative one. You can see the date of this tweet. It was in mid-March. At this point, we are weeks into what people call the second Gamergate. So he wasn't exactly new to the party here. But yeah, that is really the last part of this video I want to play because she just kind of rambles on. It's really a self-promotion for Sweet Baby. But you can see what they're trying to do here, right? Play the victim and also try to downplay their interest and their agenda towards DEI. And they also want to act like they're just this humble consulting firm that wanted to be left alone.
Which is the good little people, and these evil Twitter, YouTube people are harassing us. You're lying through your teeth. We know this. We know this.
Alone in the shadows, but they have been exposed, and now they're trying everything in their power to hide their real agenda. I don't think that's a conspiracy theory. I think it just reflects
Get your tinfoil hats
for them and a stark change, apparently, over the past couple of months where they're trying to hide all this stuff. And nobody's buying it. They think it's just gone underground at this point, and really that is all there is to say about it. But for now, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. As always, feel free to share your thoughts.
My thoughts are very simple. It's just funny that they have started acknowledging Rev's existence. It is really funny that they have actually a thumbnail of his in that video. It's just super funny, and like other people as well. It's like, really? You're putting upper echelon like in like on in that group with like people quote unquote harassing you? Sure. It is really funny to see that. It is so funny. It is so funny.